guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Soph and on this channel we talk about all things books. For today's video I'm kind of doing like a I guess it would be like a quarterly wrap up. I'm basically gonna wrap up and review all the books that I've read this year so far and just like talk to you a bit about them. I'm actually filming in my living room today, which I don't know why. I never considered doing it. I think it's because the window here, like everyone walks past and looks in and it's kind of awkward, kind of weird when they're gonna see like a camera in front of me, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about all the books that I read from January to now and give you a little review of them. I don't have any other physical books with me. I've actually only read like 11 books, which is kind of annoying for me personally. But okay, so the first book I read this year was actually the first Zodiac Academy book. I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed the concept of the story. I read it on my Kindle. I think everyone knows there are some writing issues because it is like an independently published book. It's a very indie book. It's the first of like, I don't even know how many are out now. I want to say like 9. I can only assume that as the series goes on the writing gets better. They introduce like a decent editor or something, I hope. But the actual concept of the story, of the world, all the characters, I really enjoyed. I love the 2 main characters. It follows twins who discover they're part of like a magical realm basically, and they go to Zodiac Academy, which is an academy for all the like magically gifted people. Hello, it is future editing Sophie here. I kind of realised that I gave a really bad description of this book. When I say magical people or magically gifted, what I actually mean is fae, werewolves, sirens, vampires, all the good supernatural type beings. Probably makes it sound a lot more interesting than magically gifted. I don't know why I said that and I can only apologise. And they actually discover that they're like the heirs to this world, but there's a group of boys there who basically hate them because they were the next in line to the throne because of the twins' like disappearance, because they were taken out of the world when they were babies and then their parents died, leaving these 4 boys as parents like in charge. Like they kind of shared custody of the land. And so that would make the boys the next in line, but because the twins have reappeared, they kind of, as long as they complete the Zodiac Academy and graduate, the twins are the rightful heirs to the world, not the boys. So there's a bit of like enemies going on, but you can kind of tell that it's going to be enemies to lovers, and I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed the banter, well not banter, but the aggro between the two girls and the group of boys. It can be quite harsh sometimes. I really enjoyed it and I definitely do want to like carry on with the series. I'm not sure if I want to carry on, like get all the physical books and then carry on. I'm not really sure yet. This is so awkward because my neighbour is like right there. Next up we have Olympus Volume 2, which is obviously the graphic novel. I have Volume 3 here. I did also read this one, so I'm just going to round them up together. I think I gave Volume 2 5 stars. I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed the first one as well, but I think I gave the third one 4. Yeah, so I gave that one 4 because I feel like a lot less happened compared to in the first 2. It follows Hades and Persephone, basically like books full of mutual pining. It's honestly so good. I would definitely recommend. I just felt like the third one had a little bit less going on, or like maybe a little bit less of the romance. Maybe that's why I marked it lower. It was still good. I would still like reread it. I would still want to continue the story. 4 stars is still a really good rating anyway. Really enjoyed both of those graphic novels and I'm excited to get the 4th one. I then started another like indie fantasy romance series by Holly Renee, and the first one is called A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows, and this follows a girl who has like star marks all over her skin, kind of like freckles, but they're described as star marks, and she's called the Star Blessed, and there's a prophecy that says that she has to marry the Fae King, the Fae Prince, and he will be like super powerful by marrying her because they kind of like feed off of the Star Blessed and take their like star power. It's kind of confusing to be honest, but I imagine them to be like the people in From Blood and Ash. Like they're not vampires but they take blood, And that's what they do in this series. Obviously they're fae, so they have power anyway, but they gain more power by feeding on the Starblessed people. And I think her name is Adara. She is like the prophesized one that's going to make the current Fae Prince the strongest he can be to take over and like run the place. She basically ends up falling for his brother, who happens to be a prince of another like kingdom, and it's kind of like between the two, but she really hates they feed off of her because they just do it. They don't even call her by her name, they literally call her Starblessed all the time. They're like, come here Starblessed, and she's like, my name is Adara. Like, they don't even treat her like a person, and that's why she ends up kind of siding with the other brother, but she doesn't trust either of them. So it kind of follows her trying to work out who she can trust, who she does trust, who she doesn't trust, and where she wants to be and what she wants to do with her life. I read 1, 2, and 3, so I rated the first one 3 stars. The writing isn't the best. Like I said, it's an indie published book, so I don't even know if there was an editor involved. The writing wasn't the best, but the story definitely has potential. I rated the second one at 4 stars. I really enjoyed that one. That one was a lot better than the first, but then I rated the third one 3 stars again, because again, it's kind of similar to Olympus. I just didn't feel like there was a lot going on. But I really enjoyed the romance side of all the books. I don't want to give too much away because of spoilers. I would recommend it. It's definitely like a good read, and I will continue with the series as they come out, but just bear in mind that it is indie published, so it's not the best writing. I then read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which you would have seen in the last video I uploaded, which was my vlog for it in January. I rated it 4 stars. It was my first Grady Hendrix and I really enjoyed it. It was so like what the hell most of the time, but it was like full of 80s vibes. It was giving me the feeling like I was in a horror movie, which I absolutely love. There was a scene, which you will see in the vlog if you've watched it, that absolutely grossed me out, and I don't get grossed out easy, but reading that chapter grossed me the F out. Like, I was like, ugh, while I was reading it, and I don't typically get that feeling, so I am definitely looking forward to reading the rest of his books. I've already got Southern's Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires and Final Girl Support Group, so I'm looking forward to reading those. And he also has a new one out called How to Sell a Haunted House, which I'm definitely interested in. That one definitely sounds like a bit of me. I rated it 4 stars. It was really, really good. It just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. That's okay. Next up, I read A Darker Shade of Magic. That was my buddy read with my friend from work. I flew through this book. Like, I was not expecting it to be as easy of a read as it was, because the only other really short books that I have read was, the first one was Addie LaRue, which was a slow but very beautifully written book, and I absolutely adored that book. I'm considering buying multiple editions of it. And the other one was Gallant, which again I enjoyed, but I found the writing to be a bit slower paced, and I struggled to get through it because of how the writing style was. But with Darker Shade of Magic, I flew through it, which I didn't expect. Especially since a lot of people have said that Gallant was more similar writing style to Darker Shade of Magic. So I was kind of like, I didn't really get on with the writing style of Gallant. Am I going to enjoy this? But we flew through it. We've already got the second one ready to go. I am so excited to carry on with the story. If you don't know, it follows Kel and Lyra. Is her name Lyra? Lara? I think it's Lyra. Kel is a magical traveller who travels between realms, basically, different Londons. Each London has a different amount of magic. So one London, magic has kind of taken over, it like drains your soul. One London, they like thrive on magic. One London, magic is banned. So there's different versions, and Kel finds a artifact from a London that no longer is like open to the world. It's been shut away because magic literally took over, and so he is like on a mission to get this artifact back to the right London, and he meets a little thief called Lyra, and together they kind of embark on this quest together with a lot of bumps along the way, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. What did I rate it in the end? Oh yeah, 4 stars. It was a really good book. Didn't quite give me that feeling, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to continue the series. Like, I'm ready. Next, we have Throne of Glass. Now, if you've been watching my book videos for a while, you know that I've been hesitant to read Throne of Glass. I absolutely loved ACOTAR. Like, ACOTAR has this very special place in my heart, specifically the second and third book. But with Throne of Glass being such a long series, I've been really putting it off because I don't want to embark on a really long series. And I read Assassin's Blade, the like novella, months ago. Absolutely loved it. I think I rated it like 5 stars. I adored it and I was like, yes, I'm gonna continue with the series. But then part of me was like, I really don't want to start a long-winded series right now. Like, that is not what I want. But I decided that February was the month that I was gonna do it, and I did it, and I absolutely loved it. The whole like Assassins competition thing, loved every minute of it. It's a very different vibe to ACOTAR, and I definitely find it a much slower read, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I rated it 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to like continue the series, but I'm gonna take it at a slower pace to what I did with ACOTAR, because with ACOTAR I was able to just like indulge in all of it. The same with For Blood and Ash actually. I literally couldn't put that series down. I finished the first book and I was like, right, second book, third book, and then at that point none of the other books were out, so I actually need to go back to that series. But yeah, I really enjoyed Throne of Glass. Definitely a different vibe, and I absolutely love our main character. Love her love interests. Every time Sam was mentioned, my heart broke. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go too much into Throne of Glass because it's like one of the most talked about series on BookTube, and I feel like everyone knows what it is. But if you do have a question, leave it below and I will be sure to answer you. Really good book, and I would definitely recommend. I then read Bunny by Mona Awad. I still have so many thoughts about this book. Like, when I saw Chloe from Chloe Bunny and Kat from Bambina Katrina talk about Bunny, I was not expecting this. Like, I rated it 4 stars because by the end of it I was like, wow, that was a good book. But all the way through it I was like, what is going on? Like, what? We have a really unhinged, well, not unhinged, but I would definitely say she's unreliable narrator, because like by the time you get to the third like act, you don't know what is real and what isn't. And all I want to say is, it's like jumping down the rabbit hole with Alice and not knowing what the hell is going on, because that is how I felt throughout the whole book. I feel like that's how you're meant to feel though, so I definitely don't hold that against the book at all. I went in hard. I annotated it, I underlined it, I tabbed it, I highlighted. There was like so much I needed to, I don't even know what the word is, like work through my brain when reading this book. I feel like I was having a big brain moment because I have never read a book like it, and I'm definitely excited to read All's Well, which I have upstairs, and she has a new one coming out this year called Rouge, and I would definitely be picking that up because I feel like when you just need something that is like so out there, confusing, she is a good writer to go to for sure. And next up we have An Enchantment of Ravens, which I actually read on my Kindle because it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I'd heard a few things about it, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a go, and I absolutely loved it. Again, another 4 stars. It didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling, but I really enjoyed this book's take on fae. So if you don't know, it follows a girl who lives in the human world, and they're separate from the fae, who they call fair folk. And in this world, the fae can't, like, they can't create things, so they can't cook, they can't paint, they can't draw, they can't make anything. They call it craft. They can only like magic things and like use glamours and stuff, and they're actually like really ugly underneath compared to a lot of the books nowadays, which have fae as like these beautiful creatures that have like no flaws. These fae are flawed, like heavily, and they use glamours to make themselves appear more human, so not to scare off the humans, because they like humans, they find humans fascinating through all their crafts and stuff, but they're very cunning with their enchantments, so you have to be very careful how you word things. So our main character paints portraits of the fair folk in exchange for enchantments, but because she's been working with them for a long time, she knows that she needs to be careful and she needs to word things like cleverly so that she doesn't get stung at some point in her life. But she ends up having to paint a portrait for the Autumn Prince, I believe, and she does it, but she ends up painting him with a human emotion, which is like forbade. It's a sign of weakness to the fae, and so he becomes enraged after having such a lovely time with her, like through all the meetings for the paintings and stuff, and he actually drags her back to the fae land for a trial for, I can't remember what reason he gave her, but he basically thought that she was trying to do it on purpose and like ruin his life. So dramatic, I can't even. But along the way they have a lot of stumbles, and it just follows them on their journey to the Fey world and all the trials they have going there, and like them trying to understand each other. And it's a standalone book. I wish it wasn't, because it was really good and I really want to see more of them together, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely more looking forward to reading Sorcery of Thorns now, which I have upstairs. And last but not least, I read Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. On Goodreads this shows up as a 4, but I am actually rating it a 4.5. It was near perfection to me. I don't really know how to describe the writing style. I've definitely read books like it, but I found those books to be quite hard to read. This one is so like lyrically and beautifully written. It just flows so well, and it is literally a love letter to Dracula, but I just loved every single moment of it. I flew through it. It follows a girl who was in the middle of a war, and Dracula approaches her and offers her this new life, everything she could ever want, and all she has to do is become a vampire. She doesn't quite know it at that point, but so then they have this long life together. Obviously it follows them through different eras, different people coming into their like family and things like that, and it's just her talking to him about their life together from like her point of view, and it's so good. I could have annotated it to death, but I just didn't want to slow down to like from reading it. I just wanted to read it, indulge in it, and just feel all the words, because it was so good, like so good. It was so close to a 5. It didn't give me the feeling that other 5 stars have given me, but I was like, this is a masterpiece. Somebody's probably gonna come back to me and be like, this is not a masterpiece, I don't know what you're talking about, but honestly I don't care. Like, I loved that book like so much. But yeah, that is everything I have read from January to now. It's not a whole lot, to be honest. I've had a few bad mental health patches, and some books have slowed me down. Like Bunny really slowed me down because of how complex it was. In a reading mood now, so I'm reading a lot. I'm currently reading Atlas 6 and Death Note volumes 1 and 2. But yeah, let me know what you have been reading and what you are enjoying and not enjoying. And if you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up, because it really helps. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye guys!